From your favorite shows, music, and songs, to the very culture that defines social trends and marketing, Asia's influence on our society and media is nearly impossible to ignore. Historic barriers are being shattered, and from those pieces, a new foundation of inclusivity and representation is forming. But it's taken time to get here. In North America, the gatekeepers of Hollywood have long relegated Asian roles to sidekicks and stereotypes, and have even used white actors to portray them as offensive characters. One of Hollywood's most notorious examples came in 1961, when Mickey Rooney, with taped eyes, prosthetic buck teeth, and a fake tan, played Mr. Yunioshi in Breakfast at Tiffany's. And in response to criticism, Rooney later said, quote, "Those that didn't like it, I forgive them." Just 1 year later, English actor Alec Guinness, best known for his role in Star Wars, portrayed Faisal I, King of the Arab Kingdom in Lawrence of Arabia. Guinness has also portrayed characters of Japanese and Indian backgrounds over the course of his career. But Hollywood's history of whitewashing isn't just in the history books. It's nearly as old as the industry itself, and the issue still remains. This year alone, Welsh actor Taron Egerton was cast as Dutch-Indonesian video game designer Hank Rogers, and even has dialogue in the film speaking directly to that Indonesian heritage. But with awareness seemingly comes success. Everything Everywhere All at Once swept awards season with its predominantly Asian cast, while RRR brought us the first song from an Indian film to take home some hardware at the Oscars. And makeup artist Judy Chin became the first woman of Asian descent to win an Academy Award for hair and makeup. And beyond Hollywood, the grandiose productions from India's Bollywood attract millions of foreign viewers each year, grossing hundreds of millions of dollars in box office revenue overseas. Meanwhile, South Korea's K-pop and K-dramas have taken the world by storm. The phenomenon, coined the Korean wave, has more than 156 million fans spread across 116 countries. We spoke with Toronto-based filmmaker Amanda Ann-Min Wong for more insight on the progress thus far and the work that still remains. Amanda Ann-Min Wong, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so Asian representation, I think it has come a very long way since you and I were kids. But I think a person's first introduction or exposure to seeing themselves reflected in, say, a Hollywood film or a TV show, whether it's a good or bad reflection of it, leaves a lasting impression. So I'm curious for yourself, what are your earliest memories of both a positive and a negative example of Asian representation in the media?
I think the first time that I saw it in a Hollywood film, I went to see Shanghai Nights with Jackie Chan, Owen Wilson, and Fan Wong. And I remember Fan Wong is Singaporean, and I remember coming out from that theater and saying to my mom, "She made it, she did it." You know, I was so happy. And then my mom was like, "Did she?" And it wasn't until I was a lot older as an adult that I rewatched the film and I realized how much there was sort of this fetishization aspect to it. Like, she was very much playing a stereotype of, you know, an exotic Asian woman. And I feel that people often think that Asians are homogenous, you know, like all Asians think collectively in the same way, not realizing that there are many different distinct cultural groups even within Asia, and a diaspora outside of Asia as well, who, you know, might be third or fourth generation outside of you know, their country of origin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And getting back to North America and sort of Hollywood's whitewashing of roles and characters, I think we're becoming much more aware of this happening and representation being so important to have going forward. But why do you think whitewashing of roles has been so accepted historically?
I think it very much goes back to the early days of entertainment. It goes back to vaudeville, right? Where people would play actors. I think this carried on into Hollywood, and as they were making a lot of these films that were supposed to represent the exotic East, they would cast white actors who would wear makeup to look like Asian actors. There's a very famous one from the early 1910s called Broken Blossoms, where this actor apparently wore a rubber band around their head to make their eyes look more Asian. This is a white person. And so we come from that kind of history. It's almost like we're replaceable, you know? So I feel like I think it is getting better. But there needs to be a little bit of thought behind casting and how we look at the characters, not just from a casting perspective, but from a writing perspective, so that we can make that change to see people of our community, people who are, grew up here on screen and in an authentic and real way that isn't a stereotype.
You are a filmmaker yourself, so you are in the industry. What more can the industry do, can consumers do, and really the Asian community and communities do to change this and to improve the situation?
Yes. I think that watching more films, Asian films with Asian actors, created by Asian producers, writers, directors, is huge. I think that also goes beyond tokenism, right? Sometimes we can watch something that is a full Asian cast, but then it feels like it's a parody of an Asian family because the writers aren't Asian. So I think it goes on a lot of levels of how films are created. It is a collaborative effort, and it takes the creative team to be able to, tell real and true stories. From a consumer's perspective, I think if there is a movie that you hear of that comes out, you go see it in the theaters, watch it on TV, give it the views, because only then do you know do these broadcasters know that this is actually working, that people actually want to see this. And I will always say that because filmmaking is a business, I hate to say it, it's creative, but it is also a business. It's supply and demand. The more demand for people who look like us, for our stories, the more demand for that, then the more supply that we can create.
Now, talking about sort of classic films like the martial art films, TV shows, more recently anime, we can think of early examples of Asian media entering the Western market, but it goes much further back than that, but it's often being left unrecognized. Star Wars, the good, the bad, and the ugly, those wouldn't exist without Akira Kurosawa. The Lion King, borrowed heavily from the 1960s Japanese animated series Kimba the White Lion, and The Departed was largely an uncredited remake of Internal Affairs. So can you talk about how Asian talent has long been a part of Hollywood, but it's proven to be very difficult to actually break into the industry?
The key word, I think, is uncredited. We always borrow from each other. There are always going to be remakes. Marvel keeps making remakes of their own stuff. Disney makes remakes of The Little Mermaid. But the key thing is it's credited. It's marketed as a remake. I think that a lot of people for a long time in Hollywood have seen a white person as the default. And if you are an Asian person, an Asian actor going up for a role, it's oftentimes a stereotypical character. And even if it is a good role, those are far and few between, because there aren't also Asian writers and Asian directors who are leading the helm, who are making sure that those roles are made. And I think there's also a lot of limitations that are put on Asian filmmakers to either only make Asian films, only make content that's based on their personal life. There's a little bit of that limitation there where people see Asian creatives as Asians first before they see them as human beings, as just creatives who want to make good work and tell good stories.
So what is your take on most recently seeing, Asian superheroes as part of the Marvel franchise? Like we just mentioned, the Oscars, a sweep by Everything, Everywhere, All at Once by a predominantly Asian cast. What do you make of all that? Do you think these are, it's finally fair representation of Asians in media, or are these just breadcrumbs that we're happy to have, just small victories that are part of a longer battle that is currently still being fought?
Yeah, I think it's the latter. It's amazing that what is happening with, films like Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. That film showed a character who she happened to be Asian. The things that happened around her were relevant to her Asian background, but the film wasn't about her Asianness, it was about her personal journey, the plot of the journey, the sci-fi journey, and her relationship with her daughter. And at the end of the day, that's the core of the film. And so I think it's a really powerful way to, let people know that these films are relatable. You don't have to be Asian to watch Asian films, that our stories are important.
What do you think about Turning Red? Critics with that movie really went in hard saying it's not relatable and it's too specific to you have to be a young Asian girl to understand the film. And I found that very bizarre because all, my friends who I spoke to from very different backgrounds, we all loved it. It's because it was the experience of coming of age, and everyone has that experience.
I think that it's all fine if you don't relate to a film, but you can't use that as your basis to critique the quality of the film and the clear impact that it has on the mass majority of the people who watched it and loved it. I think that oftentimes, yes, people of color in general are critiqued a lot more harshly, not just by their white counterparts, but also their own community. I think that a lot of times we put the one Asian person that we see who has made it on a pedestal and we say, this person has to be perfect because they're representing us. And it is a lot of pressure, and people are not perfect. And I think that if we are accepting of an Asian person to succeed in the industry, we also have to recognize that they are a person and they don't have to succeed in order to be representation. There needs to be room for failure, for success, and growth.
Switching from acting to music, I will say I'm not very well versed on K-pop, but K-pop has exploded over the last few years.
Yeah.
I mean, BTS is the first all-Korean act to crack the Billboard Top 100. We've got Psy, who did Gangnam Style, which I think is always stuck in everyone's head and will be forever.
Why is it categorized as K-pop, even though there are many genres that are, even if they break out of pop, even if it's R&B, for example, they're still called K-pop. I think that there's a tendency to label people as other, right? And so if you are other, if the music is made outside of North America, you got to find a label for it, and you got to put it all into this label, because we're looking for everything from a Western perspective, from a North American perspective. The thing is, it's all about tokenism, right? Like, people will say, I only have one spot for an Asian artist, or if it's like it's a festival, I'm trying to fill a quota here. It's already filled by an Asian artist. I don't need another one. Meanwhile, they've got like 10 white artists. So what does that say about how we view music and how we view people as, like, are they more than commodities, or are they just, here for a blanket representation?
So what would your message be to young artists up and coming who are in the industry that you're in? Because you wear a number of different hats, from, sound artist, musician, filmmaker, writer. What would you say to the younger generation, the younger Asian Canadian generation who is coming into the industry?
Tell your stories. I think that it's really, really important to be true to yourself. People are going to tell you that you should change it because it would be more relatable to people this way, it would maybe be more marketable this way. But if we learn anything from films like Everything Everywhere All at Once, sometimes special, unique, true to yourself is what is going to be relatable to people who have that same similar experience, who haven't seen that and are tired of being given a surface value representation of their culture.
Amanda, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. That is Toronto-based filmmaker Amanda Ann-Min Wong joining us in studio.